Hi, my name is Rob, one of the founders of CityFam. I wanted to make a short intro video to start documenting the journey of building this organization. I just feel like we're in the process of doing something really special that has the potential to change the world, and I want to start capturing the journey and just giving you a behind the scenes peek at what we're doing as far as planning our social events, planning our service events, and really capturing the culture. I try to explain what CityFam is often to people in the words that I use when I post or pictures, but it's like trying to describe a feeling. And I feel like if we were to put it on video, that viewers will have a lot better idea of what it is, what CityFam is, because I think there's some confusion out there, and it might inspire people, and that's my hope. And it might also attract like-minded people when they realize that there's a group like us that exists. So the next question, I guess, would be, what is CityFam? So I could give you the canned answer, and that may or may not explain it, but for me, the best way to describe what CityFam is just to describe the journey that I went through the last 17 years. So throughout my 20s, I was a stripper and a nightclub promoter. My life was a constant party. And I always preface this part to say that CityFam is not faith-based or affiliated with any religious group. But for me, when I was 27 years old, I became a Christian. I got called by God. Didn't really think about God before that, but one day I heard his voice. I did a radical change, 180, and I went from being popular party boy to leading Bible studies out of my house. And during this time, I started looking for a group of people to just hang out with. I had a really active social life, like I said before, and now I had nothing to do on the weekends. So I, went to some Christian coffee houses and went to, wherever I thought I might be able to find it. And there really wasn't anyone out there like me. So for about 6 years, I felt like a complete alien, and I would just go to the movies on the weekends trying to avoid trouble, knowing that if I went back to the bars where my friends were, that it probably wouldn't be good for me. So, but after about 6 years of trying to do this, I got so starved for community that I finally did go back to the bars, because I just wanted to be around people that I could relate to. I wanted to be around some girls. I was single. I was like in my early 30s at the time, and maybe hear some music, maybe grab a beer. So I went back to the place that I knew I could find people that I could relate to, which were the bars. And it didn't take long before I started picking up all my old bad habits. I started drinking too much, and then sleeping around, and eventually doing drugs. And over the next few years, my life spiraled down to the point where I became like the exact same person I was before, except now I just felt guilty because I knew that I was wrong. So things had gotten bad enough by the end of 2011 that I rededicated my life to God. It felt very unnatural for me to go back to that lifestyle, because I had tried it before and it didn't work. It didn't feel natural, but I had made such a mess that I thought that it was better than what I was doing. So almost like going back into a cage or into prison, if you will. But I rededicated my life and kind of thought I'd give it a go again. And for the first 6 months, it was the exact same thing. I just the weekend came, and I stayed in and watched Redbox every night, because I didn't know what to do with myself or who to do it with. And after about 6 months of sitting in my house by myself, I got so fed up with it that I was complaining to somebody, and they said, well, you were a promoter. Why don't you start putting events together that get you out of the house, that won't cause you to make mistakes? It was like a light bulb went off. So I started putting together movie nights, or Benji's drive-in, or bingo night, or anything fun without regret, is like we like to call it now. Anything to get myself out of the house, just to be around people. And at first, 2, 3, 4 people came, and eventually, though, over time, we were able to start to cultivate a group of people that were looking for the same thing. I was doing some volunteering through the church that I went to, Epic, and I started to like myself again, because I was giving back now, and I was making a positive influence instead of being a negative influence. And I thought, wow, there's got to be other people that want to give back too, that maybe aren't a member of a church or don't work for a Blue Cross and Blue Shield or some other big company. and they want to volunteer and they just don't know how to get started, because I had this desire to volunteer for a long time, and I really just didn't know how to start. So I started looking for opportunities to give back, and when I found a worthwhile cause, I promoted that the same way I would promote a social event. And what I found was that I was right, that people did want to give back, and if you make it easy for them to get involved, they'll jump right on. So I had this group that was socializing, doing fun things without regret. We were serving and giving back on the weekends, and in the process, I saw people's lives change, including my own. I became a different person in the process of doing these things. So after a couple years, we realized we had something, because the group had gotten so big, so we gave it a name, and we called it City Fam. And the group has grown to the point now where we honestly believe that we have the power to change the world with enough of us. I'm completely consumed with finding people like me now, that are either A, staying at home on the weekends, bored out of their minds, or B, going to the bars and the clubs, making bad decisions because they think, what's the alternative, right? Well, now there is. They're City Fam. And we like to believe that it's never too late to be the person that you might have been. Another thing that we want to start to talk about is getting ready to open Home. And Home is going to be a bar. The first one's going to be in Canton, more than likely, and we've already spoke with the owners down there. And it's really going to be a bar, but not a bar like any other bar that's in the world. And I think about when I went through those first 6 years of really trying to work on myself and make positive changes, and really having nowhere to go. So I want to create a place that people can go and become a better version of themselves in a social setting. Meaning, so when I go to church, the attitude is, what can I do for you? But when I go to the club, which I was the most popular person in the club in Baltimore, so I know this culture very well, the attitude is, what can I get from you, right? These guys are using girls, trying to get in their pants. Girls are trying to get guys to buy them things or drinks or whatever. And it's just like crabs in a bucket. Everybody's holding each other down. We're going to open a place that's where people are lifting each other up, where we take that attitude of what can I do for you, and we put it into a bar, into a social setting, so that somebody can just walk in, and if they hang out there long enough, they'll become a better version of themselves organically. Unlike most bars where if you hang out in often, you're going to become the worst version of yourself. So it'll be a place of community, where we'll facilitate volunteer opportunities to go out and serve in our community, or relief trips to third world countries like the one we have coming up to Honduras, which is another thing I'll take you behind the scenes of during this video. But we plan to open this place in the fall of 2017, if not in 2018, and I want to take you guys on that journey so you can start to see the preparation of it, and how it's going to come together. So I want to share that with people in hopes that they get started on the journey. Like I said, I have people hit me up about wanting to make positive changes, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they'll get started and you'll see them and they'll change, and other times years will go by and people just never get started. They have a desire to, but they never take that first step. So I'm hoping that by seeing, not just me, not just my life, but other people in City Fam, because there's a lot of people on this journey now together that are in the process of, becoming the best version of themselves. And I feel like if more people know about it, more people see it, then they'll be inspired to go and do likewise. So how the idea came about for doing these international relief trips was, I guess, about 4 years ago. It was probably around the beginning of 2013. I had been promoting a really debaucherous pool party called Rehab in Ocean City. It was wildly successful. We, had our biggest event of the year every Memorial Day Sunday. And at the time I quit drinking and was an active member of my church on leadership. And the time came for us to plan rehab, and I had conflict about it. I didn't feel good about it. But I knew that if I didn't do it, that my competitors, the Good Life Boys, would have jumped in my grave, taken Sunday, and made all the money. And I thought, well, how does that help anything? So after a lot of thought, I felt like I had this really crazy idea. I said, what if we took all the money from that event and we used it to go on an international relief trip and invited anyone that wanted to go, including the people that attended the party rehab. And it was so crazy that I actually had to run the idea past the pastor of my church, Chris Lockamy, because I thought, you know, is that even okay? You know, so he gave me the thumbs up, and that's exactly what we did. I think we gave around $10,000, and we invited anybody that wanted to go, and we took 13 people to Grenada that first year, and we're able to do some cool stuff down there, and then every year it's just kind of grown from there. So this year we're going to Honduras. We're planning to take 30 people, and again, we're probably the only non-church group, at least the only one that I've ever seen, and I've passed several of them in the airports, that go on these international relief trips. And you know, sometimes the groups that we plug in with down there don't really know what to do with us, because we're a little bit rougher around the edges than most of the groups they're dealing with. But yeah, it's a good time. It's interesting, and we've you know, the people that go down, I get more excited about the people that I'm going to serve with than the people I'm going to serve, because I've seen miracles happen in people's lives when they get their eyes off of themselves and they start to give back of themselves sacrificially. So, you know, we're excited about going to Honduras. And bonus onto that is we are taking a trip to a few of us when we go down. The day that we go down to Honduras, the larger group will go to Honduras, and then a few of us will go to Nicaragua, where we are planning to buy some property and build a mission site. We learned of some needs there. We realized that we found out through our sources that there was no good place for teams to stay if they want to go help this certain people. So we plan to go down to Nicaragua in August, scout out some land, buy some property, and build a mission site that will host teams from the United States, and I couldn't be more excited about that. So we'll be posting these videos on Facebook and YouTube regularly. Feel free to leave me a comment. I'll get back to everyone, every question that you leave, I'll respond to. And really, I guess my hope in doing all this is for people to see that they're not alone, that if they're on this, they decide to go on this journey with us, that there's other people out there that are doing it, that are struggling, that are in the fight. So, you know, I hope to see you at the next event, and tune in. Thanks.